Hi everyone, it's Paige, and you may or may not have noticed that Flannery and I have been pretty absent from the channel lately, and that's because I was diagnosed with cancer. I have been wanting to film this video for a while now, but I wasn't really sure how to say it or what I wanted to say, but now sitting here filming this, I'm actually 3 weeks post-surgery and I was diagnosed about 2 months ago. So I feel like now is a good time for me to talk about it. My cancer was caught very unexpectedly and was a huge surprise to not only me and my family and my friends, but to my doctors. And that's why I wanted to share this story, because you never know who you could be helping and you never know who needs to hear your story. And there's so many other people that could be going through the exact same thing, and you're just like looking for someone to talk to someone, you know, you want to talk to someone who relates or someone who has been through something similar. And if I can be that person for somebody, that's what I want to do. So I am sharing this story with you. I don't even know where to start really, but I guess I'll go back a couple months. So I went to a new primary care doctor, and when I met that doctor, obviously we had to do blood work and we had to do the whole like get to know you type of thing. So we did blood work, and my doctor also asked me, like, is there anything that I should know? Is there anything, you know, happening? And I had mentioned that occasionally I get these really like random strong stomach aches, and they're very like sporadic. Like I could have, you know, crippling stomach pain for 5 days in a row and then not feel anything for a month. Like it was very sporadic. But at the time that I saw my doctor, it was very common, and I was like, I need to bring this up. I need to mention this. So I mentioned it to him, and luckily I had a really good doctor who listened to me. And my doctor told me, that's not normal. We need to figure out what's happening there. And that's exactly what we did. So we got the blood work back, and we found out I was anemic. And after, you know, the stomach pains and the anemia, we're like, okay, we need to figure out what this is. And so we ran some more tests and figured out where I was losing blood from, because anemia is when you have low blood cells, I believe. We found out that I was losing blood through my stool, which is not good, but I didn't know. Like I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know I was anemic. I didn't know that all of these things could be signs of cancer. I didn't know these things. And I'm not saying if you're anemic or if you have a stomach ache that you have cancer, because that's not always the case. That's my case, but that's not the case for everyone. But after that, I met with a GI doctor, and we did a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. And in the colonoscopy is where they found a tumor. And I remember sitting there and the GI doctor coming out to me and being like, I'm so surprised, but I'm 80 to 90% sure that you have cancer. And I don't think I mentioned this, but it's colon cancer is the cancer that I have. So the doctor came out and told me how surprised he was. And not only was it a surprise to him, but it was a surprise to me. And those are words that you never expect to hear. Like you never expect someone to say, you have cancer. And that was in April, and it's been a whirlwind of things since then. It's a lot. And I think I've handled it really well, and I'm really proud of the way that I've handled it. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to act when someone says that to you, but I don't know. It's been a journey. I ended up meeting with a surgeon A couple weeks later, he gave me some options, and now, sitting here, I am 3 weeks post-surgery. Surgery was a lot harder than I anticipated. I mean, the surgery itself, obviously, I don't remember, but the recovery, it was really rough. I was in the hospital for about 8 days, just because my body had a little bit of a hard time. But it's so strange how it's like you flip a switch, and now 3 weeks out, I'm just like, I feel so different, like I feel so good, and it's such a weird feeling how that can happen, how it can switch so quickly. And now that I am feeling so much better, I wanted to share this because my body was trying to tell me that something was wrong for who knows how long. But, it was like sending me signs, things that I didn't know were signs. And so I just want everyone to listen to their bodies, to be aware of what's happening in your own body, and just know, like, if something keeps happening, like, over and over again, like, you need to find a doctor. You need to talk to a doctor. You need to find someone that you can trust, someone that listens to you. And I'm still in shock that my doctor took this so seriously. Like, I didn't know that it was anything serious, and I expected, like, I wasn't even sure if I should mention it to my doctor, because I was like, oh, it's a stomach ache here and there. It's not a big deal. And I can only imagine, like, if I hadn't said anything, what would have happened down the line, because most people, like, you don't get a colonoscopy until you're 40. Like, that's what it is now. That's what it is at this time. And so getting a colonoscopy at my age, I'm nowhere near 40. So getting a colonoscopy is something that I wouldn't think that I would get at this age. It's not something that's common for people to get at this age. And I think if you have a family history, or if you have these things happening, like, you need to talk to a doctor and you need to figure out what's happening, because you don't, like, if I hadn't have said anything and I had waited until I was 40 to get a colonoscopy, like, who knows what would have happened, because luckily this was caught very early, and it was removed. But not everybody gets that lucky. Like, not everybody gets a doctor that listens to them, and not everybody gets their cancer caught at this early stage. And so I really just want to encourage you to listen to your body and to tell your doctors if there's something happening. Like, even if it's something small and you're like, oh, that's, whatever, that's because of this or this or this. Like, you don't know that. You don't know what's happening. Because I never would have guessed that this was what was happening in my body. This was the furthest thing from my mind. Like, when I knew I was going in for a colonoscopy, I'm like, I don't think they're going to find anything. Like, I know what I feel inside, but I don't think they're going to find anything. And what if they don't find anything? Then what does that mean? And all of these things. And then for them to come out and say, this is what we found, was the farthest thing from my mind, and it still blows my mind. And I don't know, I feel like I'm talking in circles, but I just want to encourage you to go to your doctors regularly, and to get a doctor that you can trust, and a doctor that listens to you. I'm not saying, all of these symptoms that I had, that if you have them as well, you have cancer, because it's not the case. So, long story short, listen to your body, advocate for yourself. If you feel like something is wrong, make sure someone listens to you. And if anybody wants to hear more, if anybody wants to talk about anything, please reach out to me. I am willing to share this story with anybody who wants to listen. And I hope that you guys will continue to watch my videos and stay on the channel. I know we have been pretty sporadic, but there's been a lot happening, and we will get back to regular content. It just might take a little bit. With that being said, Flannery does have a few videos that were shot before surgery that just haven't been edited yet because there's obviously just hasn't been a lot of time. So those videos will be coming out soon, but aside from those, it may be a little bit before you get another Flannery video aside from those two. But we will get back to regular content soon, so please stick with us, and please share this video with anybody who may need it. Thanks, guys.